Welcome, everybody, to a Delco Nerd Network podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Ragucci, and here with a few friends in the Delaware County area, we get in a basement and we talk about a certain topic. Today's topic is going to be my trip to Iceland, inspired, of course, by Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding. But before we get into that, let me introduce my co-host, as always, the triple threat, Chris Trio.
Gooch, here's my thread. What is it? My hook. What does he carry again?
Sam?
Yeah, he's got like
his
strand. There's my strand.
Are we connecting?
We are connected. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah, I've been home for a week.
Still adjusting a tiny bit.
Not really. Like I was telling you before, I'm going to bed and waking up earlier, like an hour or two, either or. But other than that, I'm fine. I'm just a little tired. But
sure.
The adjustment there and back was not too bad. But
I gotta say, you told me that flight was only 6 hours long. That still kind of blows my mind. I don't know why. Like my geography.
Why do you think it would be longer?
I just don't know. My geography isn't that great. So I would have assumed at least 8. I don't know why. Like
Iceland's like in the same time. It's in GMT.
Yeah.
It's in the same time zone London is in. So
interesting.
It's like right above it, north.
Either way, it sounded like a fantastic trip. The fucking pictures were awesome. I mean, we'll get into that, of course. But what should we start with? What we're playing and such? Or,
we don't really have much housekeeping.
No, there's really not much.
I feel like we've been doing a lot of housekeeping before, but
I think there's been stuff to keep, of course.
Yeah, but what we've been playing, there's a ton of overlap here
for sure.
We're playing a lot. I'm gonna go quickly with one that I know you're not. I platinum Final Fantasy 3.
Right.
Come on. Thanks, guys.
Good job.
Guys. Appreciate it.
Good job.
And I'll just say quickly, I think I like the DS version of Final Fantasy 3 better.
Interesting.
The platinum wasn't that tough. I think it just took a little longer than I wanted, and I'm like, dude, all these games are coming. I gotta get stuff off the plate.
There is so much.
So that's done. That's in the past. I'll get to the Final Fantasy 4 at another point in my fucking life. But I know we are both still playing Starfield to some degree.
Somewhat, yeah.
I'm
definitely more. I was playing a little bit more last night, but I think I've mostly kind of finished up what I would like to.
I have decided. Our Starfield conversation is going to be interesting, and hopefully it's recorded / we do it by the end of October. That's kind of our light plan
goal,
at this point that we decided probably like an hour ago.
Yeah.
Or not even that.
Yeah.
I was just like, because Trio's done, so it's like, fuck, he's pressuring me.
Well, exactly. Every day I text Gooch, I'm like, are you done yet? Are you done yet?
Yeah.
I finished up with like 5 days and 10 hours to play through.
So what I've decided is when I finish the main story, I think I'm going to let it lie for a while.
Makes sense. It's so funny. The way I played it, I did one of them. I did like one of the major side quests and a bunch of like minor stuff.
I think that's I finished the game. How I'm going to do it.
And then I went right back into it because the way it does set up it, like it's very interesting. I'd love to influence. You might be like, I would say don't be afraid of finishing the main campaign.
Yeah, I'm not.
And then also, but like that doesn't necessarily mean you have to end your time with it too. Well, I think that might end like where you can.
I'm not done.
No,
with it,
no.
I
mean,
just
even
like all these games coming out.
Exactly. So like, and it is so funny. I'm trying to play Cyberpunk right now. Too,
I haven't even
like,
started it.
It's really tough to hop back and forth between those two games, and just it's tough to dive back into a game when a DLC comes out sometimes for just different reasons. But I'm sorry. What else have you been playing, Gooch?
No. Yeah, so, okay, that's all we'll say about Starfield. I didn't know how deep
I didn't
know how deep you wanted to get.
We'll talk more in depth for sure, I think, when the review comes along.
I have been having realizations about Starfield, more in the negative degree, and I don't like it. And then, like, when I said it in the Discord, I was like, this is a big deal. And everyone's like, no doubt. I'm like, I don't think Starfield's game of the year.
Yeah,
I don't think it'll be up for it.
Well, I just think the conversations the conversations too divided to a degree. Like, listen, like
so divisive.
I think there's an incredibly reasonable and obvious critiques of the game and reasons why people aren't liking it. I've been thoroughly enjoying it. It's reminding me a lot of Red Dead Redemption in a lot of ways, which is funny enough. I don't know. I've been thoroughly enjoying it. There's for sure some things to take out of it and things that I don't like a lot. But I'm really curious to get into a full, meaty conversation about it. And I would like to have someone on that's maybe a bit more negative. I don't know how, or not more negative, but like more, that genuinely, like, you know, I would love to actually have that conversation because, you know, that's the whole point.
It is going to be like some games when we review them, they're like, I felt like we just had that conversation with Ahsoka. Like, it was just such a, yeah, we like the show, but like we had such a bigger conversation than
exactly.
just
And
the
I think
show.
that's why, like, listen, the last thing I'll take out of the Starfield thing is, and I think in general, I hate review scores because the whole conversation just gets centered around that versus the actual
that
problems
IGN
with the game.
score lit me up, lit our Discord up, lit the
For sure.
internet up. Like we were all talking about it.
And I think it's
For, like,
totally
no
fair
reason.
to make your base, but again, it's not even for no reason because that is a reason. You know, it's part of the
Sure,
zeitgeist
sure.
now, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
respect that and I understand, but that just becomes the point of the conversation. I do appreciate it, and a lot of people have been doing this in our Discord, bringing up pointed reasons as to why they aren't liking it, and I can completely respect and appreciate that. It's just when you just bring, and you're just like, oh, well, it's got a 7. It's like, all right, well, then you just break down the conversation. But either way, I'm excited to have a full, in-depth conversation about it.
Still playing Baldur's Gate 3.
Yep. I've been kind of off with
I'm
it.
finally out of Act 1. It took me 50 hours to do that.
Damn.
I think 39 actual clocked hours, but like obviously like with fights, sometimes you're saving and loading and like you take a while.
Yeah, there's definitely, it's probably a give and take there for sure.
Yeah, so I just started Act 2. I'm looking forward to having a conversation about it too, but again, I think we should try to beat it. We'll see.
Yeah, the combat's killing me.
Yeah, you keep saying
I
that.
know, and I really do not like the turn-based stuff for the most part, and it takes me out of the stuff that I love about the game, and I think I just got to push through it or just accept that that's not for me because I don't know. I
it too
get why
hard?
this works. I find it too tedious, really, and just annoying, and I'm sitting there for 2 hours and I die, and then I'm like, all right, well, I'll reload midway through this fight, and I'm like, oh no, I was already fucked. I approached this battle completely wrong. I need to restart it completely.
Yeah.
And like, I totally understand and respect that that's from the point of view of D&D, and like that's how like these games are meant to be played and it's built from the ground up for that. And I think it works so well, especially in its RPG elements and the story it sets up. But the main way of interacting with the game is the part that I don't like. Like, you know what I mean?
I just
Like,
don't like it at all.
No, it
Which
sucks.
is interesting because we play D&D, so it's
Yeah.
not like you're like not
No, it's
in
true.
that world and the,
100%,
in that
and it's not.
game.
And again, it's not even the world. It's just the mechanic of it.
Right,
I just
the
think
world
it's
of,
so
like,
much
the mechanics
Yeah,
of
the
D&D,
mechanics of it. I just don't know if it works as well for me for some reason when I'm not in a live setting with everyone and we're having fun. Like,
Sure, it is different.
and I don't know. It's
It
yeah.
is.
And listen, I completely understand that's how it is.
Baldur's Gate 3 is much different. Like it is Dungeons and Dragons, but it's different.
And listen, I'll give it a ton of credit where credit. I think it should be the game of the year so far, without a doubt, in my opinion. I think just even if Starfield was overwhelmingly positive, I don't know if I could make it like it would be tough for me to make a case against Baldur's Gate 3 just because of how well crafted it is, and it knows what it wants to be and really kind of seals it and goes for it. So I'm enjoying it. I need to get back more into it.
We're both playing Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Yeah.
How far are you into it?
I think I have like 4 hours. I've been kind of just fucking around. So I did the beginning.
I thought you had a little bit more than that.
I think I'm
I've
probably
got 3.
Okay, so I'm probably at like five or six.
Okay.
Because I was playing last night a lot. I mean,
Yeah,
listen,
it was
I like
yesterday.
it a lot. I don't think it's. I've been seeing some people say it's kind of what they fear it was going to be in the way of like it's just a reskin and it's not really a lot of noticeable changes. But I don't know. I think the stealth is significantly improved, and I think that the story is much more pointed. And I don't know if it's going to matter a lot in the way of like the grander scheme. I think it's just going to end up giving us more depth into Basim. But I like Baghdad. I think it looks beautiful. I do think the faces are weird at some points. When they're speaking, it doesn't
noticed
line
the
up
graphics
quite.
just
See, I think overall
kinda
it looks
bad.
really good, aside from the facial animation, because their mouth isn't matching up with their words in some places and things like that. I do think it's a beautiful looking game, like especially when you're just going through the city streets and like seeing the water. Like I still remember Origins still looks beautiful to me, even going back to that. And I don't know, I'm thoroughly enjoying my time with it so far. It definitely feels like a return to form in a lot of ways. But what about you, Gooch?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. There are some parts I'm like, skill tree. The combat isn't not the stealth combat, but the
Yeah,
action
the actual
combat.
yeah.
I'm like, ugh.
Do you like it better or worse than the Origin? Like I know you haven't played since Origins, but like, do you
Probably
remember
like
Origins?
the same. Like I just
Interesting.
feel like there's if there's 2 people in the mix, like it's just maybe the controls are just kind of bad.
Well,
I
it is
think.
interesting
I
how you
don't-
only have RB to fight.
Like
which
I
is
kind of wish
different.
like attack was I know I can remap it. I kind of wish attack was X
I appreciate
and like
you heading that off.
parry was like I think it is LB. And like I'm like the controls are just kind of weird, and I'm like, I kind of wish Eagle Vision was like why, like the head.
Yeah, yeah. Again, let's bring it back.
Yeah, I'm like I almost maybe I'll look at, like I don't know if I can change like if they have like different settings or I have to remap everything.
Yeah, I'm sure they have different yeah, actually, I don't
then
know.
I have to like figure out like okay, like I'm from removing Y, where's my Y gonna go? Like I think like what I want to do might be like too complicated for what it's worth.
No, it's true. I think most games, it's funny. I did this for Lies of P too, which I'll talk about in a minute. But it's usually X or B as dodge in like a lot of those Souls-like games for some reason, and I always switch it to X. Like any game that I'm using an action dodge in,
dodge is X and Mirage.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
So like anytime I do that, like I switched it in Lies of P.
Yeah, we're both playing on Xbox. By the way.
It was B, and then I switched it to X, and then I just swapped those two. So I interact with B now instead of X. I do hope. I would assume that there's like full-on controller mapping in that.
There is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
So
looked at it.
yeah, I don't know. I think the fighting is serviceable. It's fine. I do think it really does shine in its stealth mechanics. Eagle Vision being back is a major plus in my opinion, and I do like that on top of the regular like Eagle Vision with your eagle up in the sky. I think combining those things was a good idea. Yeah, overall, I think it's a very interesting game. I didn't think we'd ever play in Baghdad, which is cool. I think it's a cool, different place. I still want my Mesoamerican Assassin's Creed, please. Thank you. But maybe we'll get there someday. What about anything else?
MK1. It's good. It's much different than MK11 and MK10 and 9.
In the way of story or
X-rays
mechanically?
are gone. Environmental is gone. It's a harder game.
Interesting.
I feel like you really have to rely on your skill a little bit more. And there's been a lot of character switch out. Obviously, our Jackie Briggs, Cassie Cage, like that new gen of characters are all gone. It's not like the entire classic roster. Like Kano isn't there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Well, because like the whole world is different. Like Rain is who is now like the sorcerer for her and stuff, right?
You'll see.
Right. No, well, I thought they
he's in it.
Well, I thought they revealed that like in the promo for him that he.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Yes, but
Yeah.
but
you'll see why. Yeah.
No. It's a little.
All right, interesting.
Honestly,
their campaigns are so good.
It goes more off the deep end than I thought it was going to. I thought we were like, like Liu Kang. I watched Aftermath, by the way.
Nice.
And so I'm like, okay, cool. Liu Kang started, the new era is what they call it, and it's like Raiden's Asian now.
He's no longer a white man.
I'm kind of like I miss the old Raiden.
No, I know.
That
I get
voice actor's very iconic.
Yeah, I agree.
But like I was like, return to form. We're gonna do something different. Sub-Zero's good now. Is he gonna stay good? Yeah. He doesn't stay good. Melina is a good guy. Reptile's a good guy. Baraka's a good guy.
Well,
I'm like, I thought it was really changing some stuff up, and it kind of is. But then I'm like, oh no, we're like back to like MK11.
Interesting. So
like
and
this gets really wild.
Yeah.
I was just kind of surprised they went back into that.
Okay. I'm excited. I definitely want to play it at some point. Just right now, I'm so like in the deep end with so many other things.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about it more. We're gonna review it. Hopefully, you can get your hands on it a little bit.
I think so. I will. I should be able to, but we'll figure it out if not.
Yeah.
That's cool. I want to play it. I will play it at some point. I'll probably get it when it's a little bit deeper in with some of the new characters and things like that. Yeah. And we shall see.
And I think that what else is up there? I think that's it, right?
I think so. You didn't start Cyberpunk like you said?
No. What am I? I'm trying to think. I feel like there's something I'm missing on PlayStation. I'm bringing up my trophies real fast. No, we're good. That is it. But
is that Mummy poster new? I'm sorry to digress.
No, it's not new.
You've had interesting. I never noticed it before.
Yes.
I mean, I noticed it earlier, but I didn't think about it.
You're just getting lost in
Anox
and the Moon's eyes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, I think that's all I've been playing. We do have a few games on the horizon. Spider-Man, Alan Wake, Metal Gear Solid collections coming out.
RoboCop. I do actually want.
Are you getting it?
Oh, yeah, I actually do. I want to review that. I think I want to see if we get.
Yeah, I think it's just the end of October, and then I'm done. Banishers got delayed. Ghost of New Eden to February.
Is there something in November? No.
that was my November thing. I don't think there's anything else.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think that was it.
I'll take some breaking time. That's fine. Yeah, interesting. Well,
Yeah.
so what have I been playing?
Real
please,
quick.
no, yeah.
I was watching one thing. Have you seen I Think You Should Leave?
No.
It's with Tim Robinson. It's like he's that dude that you see on all these reels that you probably don't know what he's from.
Probably
when he's like, "What the fuck?"
Oh yeah.
That's Tim Robinson.
Yes,
That's
yes,
I Think
yes.
You Should Leave. So I watched the first season of that on the plane home from Iceland. Pretty good. They do not make sketch comedy like that anymore.
No, it's very much.
It's like a whitest kids you know kind of show, and I'm like,
just random bits.
Yeah, like you know, most of them are pretty. They're pretty. They're just like wild.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, yeah, like they don't do comedy
very absurd
like this anymore.
Yeah,
yeah, like it's weird. There's a very like
I've heard good things. Yeah,
O's,
I mean, I've seen some clips from it that
O's.
have been really funny for sure.
Yeah,
that's cool.
and they're like 15-minute chunks. But
Yeah.
That's really it. It's been a lot of playing. But
I love it.
Let's throw it over to you.
So, as far as watching, my girlfriend and I watched Cars last night.
Cars,
the original.
the first one.
Yeah, and God, that movie's great. I gotta say, I don't know why. I gotta. It's so. There are. I must have only saw that when I was pretty young, because there are so many like innuendos and kind of little jokes for the parents in it that like you just don't catch when you're younger. So that was actually really kind of fun to just go back and watch for some random reason. Other than that, I've been watching Gen V.
Yeah, how is that?
It's pretty good so far. I will say it's locked me in. I'm intrigued. I'm curious as to what's going on. Tech Knight just showed up in the last episode, which I was curious if we'd ever see him. And that he's like their Iron Man, basically.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was cool to see him. I mean, there's definitely some threads towards the boys, but it's for sure its own thing. It's got a few penises in it already, of course.
Okay.
But it's weird. It's a bit less. No, not really anything. But I think there is a bit less absurdity going on in the way of like, it's a bit more serious, but still not quite as serious as like, I don't know. I wouldn't even say like.
You're saying it's less of a satire.
It's a bit less satirical because I don't think you're dealing with the like Seven and stuff like that. A lot of the kids feel like pretty normal and like kind of like actually good and nice people. But overall, I think it's an interesting plot setup. The main character is interesting. She has like kind of weird blood powers. I don't know where they're going. I kind of really hope that they put a cap on the boys soon. And this kind of leads me to believe that they're not. I'm curious to see where they're going in the broader scope. I mean, this is set after season 4. So you hear mentioned on the TV that Homelander's like being charged for murder for blowing that guy's head off.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know where it's gonna go. I watched the last episode last night. It kind of ends like in a weird kind of abrupt.
Oh, it's done.
Oh no. I'm sorry. The latest episode.
The latest
yeah.
episode. Okay.
And yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what they're doing. I don't know where they're going with it. But overall, I would recommend it if you like the boys for sure. I think
I forgot to say I'm watching Castlevania Nocturne. I'm only
I
two
need
episodes
to.
in.
I meant to start that last night. I think.
Yeah, that'll be okay. You'll blow through that. Once I finish, you'll be like,
they're only
all
like
right.
half-an-hour episodes, right?
Yeah, 28 minutes. Yeah, it's like 9.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's yeah, but that's really good so far. Really liking it.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Those are so good. But yeah, I would recommend it if you like the boys. I think it's very much up that alley, and I think there's some interesting ideas, and I'm curious to see where it goes. Other than that, I've been playing some other things. I've been playing Lies of P, Gooch.
Yeah. I'm surprised.
I really like it so far. I think I'm gonna hit my skill ceiling too soon. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish it because that's what happens with a lot of these Souls-like games. And I realize that's just part of the.
You never finished Elden Ring?
I was on the last fight apparently.
Really?
I think I'm on the last battle, like the boss
Elden
battle.
Beast?
Yeah, where I had to like I kept getting to the second whatever round or not. What do they call it? Phase, and I just kept dying. And I kind of just like, all right, I got enough out of it. So we'll see if I finish it. But dude, the world,
how's the world? Yeah,
it's really cool.
I haven't I've heard it's good, but I really haven't heard much like in terms of like the narrative.
I think the setting is very interesting. It's super steampunky. It's like Victorian era steampunk. Honestly, you know what the narrative reminds me of? Funny enough,
Bloodborne,
iRobot.
USSR.
It's
shitting on the little guys.
It's literally like it's like Geppetto is the the like robotics industry. He creates all these robots.
So he's like a company?
Yeah, he's an inventor, and he creates this company with this other guy, Vignetti or something like that. And they create all these puppet robots, which basically help create, like, keep society going, and, you know, they're servants and things like that. And then one day they all just break and go insane and start killing everyone. But yeah, the actual atmosphere is so cool. There was some parts that I was getting into where it was taking you, like, outside of Krat, which is the city, where you're in more of, like, the slums and, like, a more foresty area. And I was like, this isn't as cool. Like, I'm not. And you're fighting these, like, fungus type enemies and things like that, where I was like, you're losing me a bit. But then we were.
You know what's funny? Bloodborne has those, like, a level like that.
Right? Yeah.
It's like, let me get back into Yarnum.
You can clearly see the inspiration that they brought from that. I think that they did an amazing job in kind of bringing it to fruition, and it's a lot of fun, and I would recommend it, especially if you like those games.
Maybe I'll get around to it. It just, again, came out at a bad time. There's too much coming out, and it was just a casualty of the gaming wars.
Absolutely. So, yeah, definitely check that out. Other than that, Mirage and Starfield, of course. But then,
do you want to talk about Phantom Liberty?
Oh, that's exactly. Yeah. So, Phantom Liberty, I also started. It's tough to. It's hard for me to get back into a game after this long of being absent, without like truly restarting it.
Yeah.
So like
that's such a turn off when CD Projekt goes like, you should restart the game before you play Phantom Liberty.
Well, not even have to. They didn't say you have to. They said it was recommended for like the thing. And I will say I started up my old playthrough and it was pretty seamless. You have to allocate your skill points onto the new skill tree. It just gives them all back to you. It's a very cool setup. There's a huge set piece at the beginning that gets you into it. Idris Elba's awesome. It's so cool seeing him in the game. I think he plays Solomon very well. I think Johnny is going to play an actually even more interesting role in it.
I heard Keanu's
he's awesome,
like back in form and even better.
Yeah, no, you can tell. I appreciate that he came back to this and like didn't get turned off. And
what does Keanu usually do?
What's up? You're gorgeous or whatever.
Yeah.
You start getting these seeds about like what he was before he was Johnny.
Yeah.
And you just get like no. It seems like there's going to be a very interesting direction to go because there's like, I don't want to give too much away. He gives us away right at the beginning, but how he talks about how he used to be in the army and he was a deserter and things like that.
So I know that
there seems to be some very interesting stuff in the way of that. I'm curious as to how it's going to change the ending of the game and stuff like that.
Yeah, it does, right?
I would assume so with how they're setting it up. I don't know where it's going to go, but the game's just a lot overall more tight. There's things in there that should have been there from the beginning, which there already have been even before this 2.0 update. But a lot of quality of life stuff, a lot of those kind of half-baked systems are now truly kind of made whole and thought out. The cyberware stuff's so much better in how your cyber load and all that stuff. They did say that there was like a cutscene for when you get new cyberware, but I'm not like you get out of a chair. But that's it. That was it. You don't really see anything else. But you do go in. It's all overhauled. Like you can only put so much cyberware on yourself until you like a cyber psycho. But I think you literally just can't put any more on it. Like locks you out. So I don't know how.
So you don't become a cyber psycho.
I'm curious to see how that maybe works out if you can.
It's cool. That'd be an interesting mechanic if it
for sure.
Like you just kind of like lose it.
The driving and like the vehicle combat will take some getting used to. I think for sure. It definitely reminds me more of like a GTA in the way of like how it works. But man, I'm intrigued. I'm finding it hard to like get my foot in and really kind of get on in my like rhythm with it and things like that.
I would just blame the time it decided to come out.
100%.
Like if you weren't playing anything else, I would
restart the game. I would restart it, and I think
it
would be a lot different. I think it's fantastic, and I think CD Projekt Red did themselves a disservice by releasing the game as early as they did and on last gen consoles, and I do think it's good that they did really put all this hard work into it, especially after all the money they got out of people just buying it from the beginning. Because
right,
Tim said this in the group chat the other day. It's a money sign success or whatever, and I was like, that's fair. And I think that's like it shouldn't be like that. And it's sad that we had to wait 2 years to get. Like it's fucked that I didn't get the full experience playing it the first time, and now like if you're going back to it now like this is if you haven't played Cyberpunk,
Go
fucking play Cyberpunk. This is the time.
You know what? You know what's funny? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's all right.
I'm having like that same thought process with Starfield. That is Starfield going to be like the greatest thing ever in 3 years?
I think the future will look kindly, but again, I don't think Starfield is the same in the way of like maybe some people will disagree with this, where it's like its systems aren't thought
people
out.
People are comparing the two, and I'm like, but dude, Cyberpunk had 3 years to get it right.
Well, but also, and again, I don't even think
like
I think Cyberpunk's situation was so much different from it's not even sort of comparable, and like I think some people would respond to that and saying like, well, they still like the narrative of Cyberpunk better and stuff like that and found it more engaging, and that's fine.
I mean, I would kind of agree.
I think that's totally fair, and you can that's your thought on that. I totally get it, but they are very different in how they approach certain things, but they are both first-person RPGs, so it's easy to kind of just superficially put them up against each other and be like, well, this does this, and
sure.
blah, blah, blah. And again, not that there aren't very reasonable and real legitimate critiques of Starfield. I don't mean to say that. But yeah, I think it's a lot of fun, and I would highly recommend playing Starfield just in general, or not Starfield. Well, I would actually recommend playing Starfield, but playing Cyberpunk now, if you have not. This is the time. It's the game is what it should have been from the beginning, and you get a big meaty middle story inside of an already pretty meaty story, and it's really cool. There was one other game I was playing, and now I've forgotten it, which is sad. I meant to write these down before I came in. It was Mirage, Lies of P, Starfield, Cyberpunk. No, I guess that is it. That's all I've been playing, and now we're just waiting on Spider-Man. And now Alan Wake, I'm actually getting like more and more excited.
Are you excited for Metal Gear?
Yeah, to play it?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I know you mentioned it, and I was like almost surprised that you said it, because like, not that I'm forcing you to play this game.
I'm excited because I think it's.
But yeah, I'm just like, I'm like, your perspective on this is going to be interesting.
I'm excited to play it because it's definitely one of those Hallmark games you hear about all the time.
Right.
And sorry, I thought I had a burp. It's something that I would like to have under my belt. That's what I'm excited to. I'm excited to play it because it's obviously a very well known. I think it'll be.
I think I'm going to tackle that in a different way, in terms of doc. I think I can get overboard with the docs for these things.
Gooch overboard with docs? Never in a million years.
Never would have thought.
Yeah.
I'm just I feel like trying to overdo this with a doc will be almost a
Truthfully,
detriment.
sometimes I feel like we could even handle it more just casually. Like rewind reviews in the way of like, this is the review. This is where we just kind of our thoughts broadly on the game. We can cover these specific things. Of course, we're always going to miss something. That's
and I mean, we're doing Metal Gear in 3 chunks.
Yeah.
So yeah, but anyway, cool. Yeah. So it sounds like we have our last 3 games are all the same.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting.
And RoboCop.
And RoboCop.
Thank you. Rogue City.
I keep forgetting that Alan Wake 2 is digital. I got next week. I'm gonna pre-order the rest of my slate.
It's 50 or 60.
Oh, I don't know.
They did lower the price because of that. That was because I remember we were talking about it. I think it's only a $50 game if I remember correctly, because they announced that they weren't doing a physical disc because it would save them money, I believe. And let me just say something. I saw this on a comment the other night. This is just a random tangent. The fact that we got Control that was made for $30 million, and then we got the Callisto Protocol for $150 or something. Dude, like that.
I am on the pre-order screen. Just tell me the price.
And I just want to say, when it comes to budgets and games, like I do think games need to be more expensive. But then when you look at something like that, it's like, all right, well, that's just complete and utter mismanagement. And you made this like
60.
60? That's what I thought. Okay, so
that is for
70,
the standard version of the game. There is a digital deluxe.
Yeah. Some digital deluxe are getting heinous.
I didn't get Assassin's Creeds. I'm like, I don't want to look like Prince of Persia. Thanks.
No, I don't. Yeah,
I'm good.
No thanks. Yeah, some of them are getting outrageous. It's like, you get this extra thing for this, like barely anything. Anyways, I digress. Gooch, is it time to move on to our main topic?
Let's talk about Iceland, baby. Kojima's his world.
His inspiration.
Yeah. So where do I fucking start with this? So since playing Death Stranding twice, once when it came out and then once post-COVID when the director's cut came out, So in between that time, I was always like, yeah, I want to go to Iceland. I really want to do that trip. It seems like a very me thing to do. Like Iceland, I have no idea what
on your own, no less too.
Well, it didn't start like that. And that's what I was going to talk about. Like, I was like, yeah, I want to go to Iceland. Like, I want to see what Kojima saw and why he made a game about, like, why he turned a post-apocalyptic America into Iceland. Because it's essentially what he did, like, one-to-one. Mm-hmm. And I started out being like, all right, well, I can't do it alone. I need to find somebody. So I kind of, like, tap some people who'd be interested. It's doing a trip like that, it's
a big commitment.
Big financial commitment, big time commitment. Whatever, and I essentially could not find anyone. So in this year, in like the winter, I kind of finally worked up to being like, I'm gonna do this alone. Like, I really want to do this, and kind of do it on my own terms, like very much on my own terms.
The Gooch way.
Yeah, the Gooch way. The only way things need to be done.
Correct.
So I did recruit the help of a travel agent. Her name is Caitlin Leonard with Bespoke Escapes. God, travel agents are useful. I will say that as somebody who when I got back and I was talking to her, and I'm like, I could have seen me planning this trip, and there's a lot to plan for a week.
Yeah.
Like a miscalculation with driving X place and then having to go to another hotel. I just could have seen where I could have fucked things up if I did it on my own and not had this
I think especially for foreign countries.
Right.
It's one thing going to Florida and planning that all out on your own.
Not that.
Yeah,
difficult.
Or even California, but you're going to another country
where nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just I could have easily fucked this up or fucked something. There was one nightmare situation which I'll talk about. Yeah. But yeah, so she did most of the planning, and I just said yes or no, and she figured it out for me, which was
That's great.
Really useful. And I get traveling, planning a trip is fucking hard. I just don't understand when she was presenting these things to me, I'm like, how am I supposed to how would I find these on my own? How would I know about all this stuff? So it's nice to just kind of
have to do insane research. Unfortunately, you'd have to do a lot more work.
Absolutely. And some people are
fine with doing that. Yeah.
And I'm like, when me and my dad went to Zion, we didn't have anybody planning. Of
course
but
not.
Again, it's America. It's 2 national parks. How hard could it be? Not that difficult, but yeah.
You know what you're getting into more there. Not even that you don't know what you're getting more into, but you have more of a defined idea of what you probably would want to do there to begin with. But sorry.
Right. No, it's okay. So on the I planned it for the end of September. It's been a it's definitely an expensive trip. I'm not gonna lie. I luckily did have the funds. I've been saving up a lot.
May I just ask how much the plane ticket was?
$900.
Okay.
Not bad, right?
I mean, to go to another country,
but here's the thing.
That's pretty good. And I will say
the hotels there are expensive, and the food is expensive.
I can imagine.
Which in other countries, Dustin Furman went to Japan. He's been talking about a lot of that recently. Food, hotels, not expensive.
Well,
there.
It's because what's the conversion rate over there? What do they use? What's their currency?
They use the Icelandic krona, ISK.
Okay.
So they have their own currency.
That's what I thought. But so what's the conversion from America? Did you know? Or I can look it up actually.
Yeah. So I think it was 7. Yeah, I'll just wait for Trio to look it up. That was one thing that did kind of catch me for a loop. Their currency is very oddly based, so it's 10,000 krona is not 10,000 USD. It's much different.
That makes sense. So it's set for each Icelandic krona equals 73 cents. Actually, no, that's not true. It equals
is it
0.0073 cents.
Let me see.
So that would mean it's less than a cent. Here, let me see. I'm going to put it in a different currency because that's a confusing way to.
Yeah, it's more. It's worth more. Sorry, the dollar is worth more than the krona, as you can imagine. It by a little bit.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So $100 US is 13,707 krona.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. Yeah. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you're seeing stuff like that big,
200,000 krona.
Right. You're just what?
Yeah.
And I did get cash while I was there. So and I was
did you keep any of their money?
I have some coins left,
nice.
But I did want to get rid of the dollar, the dollars. I'm I don't want to what am I gonna fucking do with this?
No, it would be more of a memento. Really.
Converting it back is actually kind of difficult.
Yeah.
You're gonna get less.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
almost,
no, that's exactly.
It almost pays to just spend it.
No, that's true. But I guess the idea would be you'd have enough. You'd have just the amount of money that you converted, so it should convert back just to however much money you would have spent.
No,
in America.
you lose money. Technically,
well,
because
per one,
the krona is worth less than the dollar.
No, I know, but if say you converted $100 to whatever $13,000 krona, if you use 4,000 of that and give it back, you're still getting back how much you would have had in American money. Yes, that's how money works, Gooch. If they don't give you then back less money.
I'll take your word for it.
Because you'd still have that amount of you'd have 7,000 krona left. And that just is subtracted how much money you would have spent in American money. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe, okay. I have a feeling it doesn't work as smoothly as that.
No, that's how currency conversion works. What do you mean?
I don't know.
Like if I go down to Brazil and I get a bunch of real, I think they're reals. I put $100 in reals, I'd have equal the amount of money. Like that 13,000 krona is still equal $100. Like if you were to turn it back in.
Yeah.
So you're not losing money. You know what I'm saying? You're actually gaining money. Well, you're gaining more
like
krona.
That Patrick meme where he's like,
yeah,
or
the woman where it's all the stuff's going around and she's like, But either way, I digress from the
So
from the money.
I got krona there.
Yeah,
I don't even know how we started talking
because
about
I was asking how much the price.
The flights.
Yeah.
So a few days up into the trip, I was pretty racked, just nervous.
Of course.
Like honestly, I just wanted to get there and be there. I wanted to get past the plane ride there because I'm the sleep situation.
Yeah.
So I flew out of Baltimore, BWI, with Baltimore Washington International.
Right.
So that was a 2-hour drive down there. I flew out of there. My flight was 6. I got in Iceland at about 6 a.m. So I basically lost our sleep time.
Right.
So at home, it's still 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
I took some melatonin on the flight. I slept. I think I was in a form of sleep, but I was not asleep.
Yeah, you weren't in a deep sleep.
So
you weren't getting those REM cycles.
Exactly. Yeah. I was in what is that? What it's REM and what's the other one?
Oh, I can't. REM is the deepest one. I can't remember what the other one is before.
So I'm not in REM sleep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've never slept on a plane like that. So that was a kind of a shitty experience.
Were you just in regular coach, I assume?
No.
Or did you take or get one like this? I always get one with extra leg room if I can.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Like the bulkhead or whatever.
Yeah. I was in I was near the wing.
Yeah.
So get there, 6 a.m. It's welcome to fucking reality.
Yeah.
It's 6 in the morning.
Here,
I'm
bitch.
I'm jet lagged. I gotta get currency. So I did that in the airport. I forget what the name of the airport is. It begins with a K, but it's pretty nice.
Could you just use your credit cards over there or anything?
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. You know what's funny? You think your phone and your credit card would be an issue. It's I had to do nothing for that. I called T-Mobile.
I was going to say, you
hey,
told
does
them.
this work? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I have to do anything? No.
You did let your credit card companies know, right?
Yes.
Because they usually, that's what you usually did.
Inform them.
Yeah.
But I don't really think you have to do that anymore.
No, really? I thought it was more they'll still. I think it's recommended is the idea because they will probably still call you and contact you to make sure that it's you.
Because I think they can I bought a flight to Iceland, so
sure.
I don't know if the card is has a mind of its own and knows he's going to Iceland this time.
I think it probably just stops them from calling you to confirm after they've seen you made a purchase.
Right. I never had a thing would be you need to confirm this.
I had one when I was in Philly one time where it was hey,
I actually had issues when I was doing stuff to plan for it.
Yeah.
My card kept getting declined.
Yeah. No,
or my traveling was your car got declined. I'm really? And I'm I don't even think it was that. I don't even know what it ended up.
You just
being.
had to go, and be hey, can you authorize this?
Right. So I get off the plane, and I'm going to my rental, and I'm waiting for the shuttle. And I have all my bags. It's kind of cold. I have a light jacket on, and I turn around and I look at the airport, and I'm oh my God, this looks straight out of Death Stranding. There's this crane over. I'm this looks like Port Knot City in Death Stranding. There's just the way the building was shaped and the fact that there was nothing else around us.
that one church you posted was wild. The steeple, and it does remind me more of that. I think there's a
That
word.
reminds you of Death Stranding?
No, well, just in the way of the architecture and how like I feel like that is something you would see in Death Stranding.
You
in the
know
way.
what? It kind of looks like when you go into the distribution.
That's what I mean. That's
centers.
what I was thinking.
Yes.
Like the weird slopes. Like
Good call. I didn't even
there's,
think about that.
There's a word for that type of design. I actually just saw it the other day. There was a whole like Twitter thread of it. But anyways, I continue.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the airport and I'm like, I already see it. Like there's nothing else around us. There's like one road leading to this airport. There's this crane. Like I'm like, this looks like it's fucking from Death Stranding. Like this is crazy. So I get my rental, which is electric. I literally did that because Sam drives electric cars in Death Stranding. I'm not fucking around. Like that's why I made that decision. I've learned a lot about electric cars over that week and
how they destroy the environment with their battery. No, I'm kidding.
they're like I'll get into it more, but the drive from
do they drive on the right side?
no, your phone's ringing. No, they drive like Americans, which is
They do.
weird.
Yeah.
You think it would be the opposite way, especially since everything is in kilometers and shit.
No, that makes so. But it is. I think there's
Yeah, they
only,
drive on the right.
only a
I
select
drive on the
few.
right.
It's so funny. I don't know why I asked my girlfriend. She's from Brazil, and I was like,
do they drive on the right?
No, they're on the right. Yeah, they're on the right side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
I would have.
I kind of assumed that it wasn't. That's why. Yeah.
So it's only in England that they do that.
It's England and maybe Australia. I want to say.
Why?
I don't know. I really don't. Sorry,
Try-
I just need to text someone really quick. But
No,
yeah,
it's okay.
so you got an electric car.
Yes.
You're on your way out. What? And then you get to what was the town you stayed in? Reykjavik.
Yeah. So Reykjavik is the main city in Iceland. It's like if you're going to Iceland, like you're going to Reykjavik. Like you're
Makes
probably
sense.
not going there. At least at some point in your trip. So it was too early to check in, and mind you, it's 9 a.m. at this point. So I parked. Fucked around with the charging for a minute because it was I was like in an underground parking garage, so I didn't have service.
Yeah.
So all the pumps,
They're
this
not pumps, but yeah, I get you.
charging stations have their own app. So
Yeah.
you can't just go up, scan your card, and start charging. You have to do it through an app, which honestly I think is annoying.
Yeah, it is.
Because I downloaded 3 separate different apps for charging stations, and I'm like, this is like
That is
this
annoying.
fucking annoying.
Well, that's the one of these somewhat issues with electric is like we need it to be standardized in some
Right.
way.
I'm like this. I'm seeing the flaws in this already.
Yeah.
So I didn't charge my car. So I left. And it was only like 78%. I was like, not worried about it, even though I had to make a 5-hour drive the next day. We'll get to that.
How many miles was it? Or I guess let's see. They do kilometers.
I
over there.
drove 880 kilometers my entire trip.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I know like the largest batteries they can do like 400
Yeah,
miles or something like
the
that.
distance on the batteries is not great.
Oh, for sure. I think it's gotten much better than it was, but
And I
now
kind of
think
knew
it's-
that.
Yeah,
going
yeah.
in, but I was like, for Kojima, So I get.
Don't do that. But yeah,
Sorry. I was like a fist pump. Like
I know. It was a little too high. This is fun.
So my first day was kind of just exploring Reykjavik, and like it's honestly, you know what it reminds me of? Wayne.
That makes sense.
It's not a big city. It's a very like quaint,
Small town
cozy
city almost in a way.
town
Yeah, like
with like wide streets and walkable.
like
most of it.
Westchestery maybe.
Yeah. Very Westchestery. Like there's no skyscrapers. Like it has some outskirts, and I think like where suburbs where more people are living in Reykjavik. But like it's a very like cozy city. It's not like anything like Philly or New York. Like it's very welcoming, very inviting.
So you won't get shot.
No. Iceland is really safe.
No,
and that was
that's
like one thing about traveling there alone, which made it like a good decision. I was like, I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah, you don't feel. Yeah, you
Yeah, like Iceland almost has like no crime.
Yeah,
Because like there's like
They're very
there's not that
isolated.
much going on.
and it's a very mono culture in that way. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of what am I tourists? There's a lot of tourists,
Sure.
but like it's just the Icelandic people
course.
living there.
Did you meet any fun locals? Any nice
I
locals?
did. I did.
Were they like, get out of here, stupid American? I don't know why they're German.
Yeah, no, they didn't talk like that. They were very nice. They're very nice people, actually.
So is everyone? Do a lot of people speak English there?
Everyone speaks English.
Is that the main language? I didn't realize that.
No, it's Icelandic.
That's what I thought. Okay, yeah.
I didn't know Icelandic was a language until I started planning.
It does
trip.
kind of sound like a fake made up. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm speaking Icelandic.
Do they speak like
I don't know, Icelandic? Yeah.
right, or like Dutch or something? Or
Yeah,
like
I guess you're right. I would have scored even
like
yeah.
Swedish and like I don't think like
Is Scandinavian a language?
well in Scandinavia it's Denmark,
Right.
Norway,
Yeah.
Swedish, but like Swedish is its own language
Yeah.
and Dutch is its own language. But like I'm like, what does Norway speak?
Norwegian?
Oh yeah, they do speak Norwegian.
I think so. No, or is that just I don't know.
No,
that might not be a language.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
I didn't think that like Icelandic had their own language, but they do.
It's always interesting hearing
it's
different
Norse
language.
based, by the way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's still like
Yeah.
There's a lot.
It sounds like that. Yeah, like
Yeah.
no, I don't even know how that.
Yeah. So the only thing, so I did a lot of sightseeing. I saw that church.
That was so cool. I honestly just seeing it like
there's a Rainbow Road, and dude, Sam fucking Lake is in Iceland at the same time I was.
Sam Lake was there.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize Sam Lake's.
The Alan Wake guy.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, Remedy.
Yeah.
And he was like drinking. I'm like, dude, I was drinking a coffee in front of that church. I'm like, I was there like 2 days ago. I was like, apparently there was like a dice event in Reykjavik.
Oh, interesting.
But I was like, dude, what if I ran into Sam Lake?
I mean, you already ran into someone else, which we'll get to. So
Yeah, I did. So the only like Kojima thing I did in Reykjavik was, so when Kojima went to Iceland in 2015, he discovered Low Roar, which is a band that is used a lot in Death Stranding for their music cues and some of their other moments in the game. And I think he discovered them like in a cab, and he was just like the cab driver like had it on, and he like was like, oh, what's this? And he went to a music store called 12 Tonar, and he bought the Zero album there, and that is in the first trailer for Death Stranding. I'll Keep Coming is the song in it, and for most of the trailers he uses Low Roar songs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And he became very close with the band. Actually, the main singer of it passed away.
I was gonna say, didn't someone?
Yeah, so I don't think Low Roar is gonna be a thing anymore, which is
that
really
sucks,
sad. I forget his name off the top of my head. But yeah, so like that album is from 2014. Easy Way Out, I'll Keep Coming, Anything You Need, Please Don't Stop, Chapter 1 and 2, I'm Leaving, Breathe In are all featured in Death Stranding from an album. It's not the whole album, but then other albums are also incorporated. And he was at that store and he bought a Low Roar album from there. I wanted to buy all Low Roar's albums from there. They did not have any. And I was like, oh my God, this is like...
That sucks.
Destructive, actually. So, and besides just some like random sightseeing on like, again, a few streets, I'm not
Of course,
doing,
not
like,
a major
too
town.
much
Yeah.
walking. Right, like 12 Tonar is down the street from that church.
Yeah.
Next to Baldur's Gate Street. Literally.
Well, it's Baldur's got it's
Baldur's Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's just Baldur's Gate.
That's so funny.
Like, I'm like,
that's so funny.
you know what's funny? I saw that on Twitter like recently, and I'm like, huh.
Oh, would you look at that?
Like I just ran into it.
It is
I didn't
here.
even know
Yeah,
it was there.
that's so cool.
The next street over was Tears Gate. So there's a theme. There's streets.
Any Loki's Gate? No, I'm kidding.
I did not see any Loki's Gate. The street names are very just like names.
Makes sense.
And Icelandic names are very on point. So I don't know what Reykjavik. Vik means bay. Reykjavik is on next to water.
Right.
So bay
City
is a
on the
part
bay,
of its
right?
name.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's probably what it means. But Vik is a town in the south that I went to, and it's just bay. The town is called Bay. So all these names of Icelandic stuff is really like on the nose. And I thought back to Death Stranding because like what are places called? Port Not City. It's a port not city. Wind farm. A wind farm. Like everything
it's
is
very short and to the point.
Right.
Yeah.
Like even like characters' names. Well, like not there's some like meaning behind it, but like Dead Man.
Yeah.
Like
very simplistic.
Right. I'm like he's done this kind of thing before, but I'm kind of thinking about it. I'm like, did he name the locations like that to be simple, but also be like, well, they do that in Iceland. So like, Like, I kind of almost think he did.
I'm sure that played some role.
Because, like, there's not one location. Like, it's distribution center west of Capital Knot City.
No, it's true. It's not like this is Akira City, like, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right,
yeah, like, this is it's true. Yeah.
And he's not making up names for anything.
No, it's
just
very
like,
true.
It's just like,
it's very much, this is
Capital Knot City. It's the capital.
Yeah, we got to, this is a knot city, and this is the capital of the knot cities. So we'll be Capital Knot City.
Right. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. And I'm just like, you know, I think there's a lot of things like that I just didn't think I would even realize on this trip. So end of the first day, I have and this is probably like the only day I'll probably talk about in depth. There's a lot of sightseeing that I'll just generally talk about, but I ate at this place called Ox, and it's kind of like a speakeasy restaurant. It is a 20-course meal, and I was there for a total of 5 hours.
Yeah, I mean, that's wild.
I met this Danish couple who I like connected with on Facebook and like talked to the entire night.
That's very nice.
And as well as a couple from San Francisco. So like it was really cool just kind of like talking to this Danish couple and like they were from Copenhagen.
You're getting some world travel, Gooch.
Yeah, but like it's like funny how like there were some differences and like they spoke English like easily.
Very well,
like Charlotte, the girl, the female of the couple,
the woman,
she like had like a few times she was like, oh, what's the American word? But she was like really like
no,
on
of course,
point with it. Like, but like I'm like they spoke English like really well. But yeah, like just the conversations we were having were pretty interesting.
Well, I mean, it is wild. Like it used to. I was listening to a podcast and we were talking about how like our stuff used to travel like in the way of like our shows and everything. Like our media is obviously everywhere. I feel.
Right, we were talking about that,
and I think it's so funny because I guess back in the day, of course, it would take like a couple. Like once something comes out in America, it takes a year to get dubbed over in France, and then it goes out. Right?
Sure.
You still need that time, but now it's like, no, it's out on the internet. It's everywhere. You just watch it now in English.
Yeah.
And you learn English, or you watch it with subtitles and things like that. And even my girlfriend, like she used to. She would tell me that certain movies she'd see in Portuguese down in Brazil, certain movies she'd see in English, but like they were always both available. So that is interesting that like most people speak English there, to be honest.
Yeah. There was I had no issue doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like I made a lot of connections during this trip, but obviously a theme of Death Stranding is connections and like traveling alone. I'm not with anybody, so. I never really felt lonely on this trip, which is kind of maybe strange. Like at some moments it does just feel lonely because of the aesthetic of this place. It's not a very, I don't know, bustling country.
It's a bit barren. I mean, that's not necessarily in a negative way.
It is a wasteland. Like it makes sense why Kojima even like interpreted it as almost post-apocalyptic because like once you get out of Reykjavik, there's nothing.
Yeah.
It's nature
unoccupied,
and there's not even animals.
Yeah,
there's a lot of fucking sheep because they they farm them like they're all over the place
everywhere. Yeah,
but like and there's like other like cat like domesticated farm animals.
Yeah, of course.
But like you don't see like deers. There's not a lot of birds. I think like there's some fox native to Iceland, but like there's not a lot of fauna.
Wow.
And I just thought that was like. Well, like I remember a lot of people talking about Death Stranding, how they didn't like there's animals like in the first cutscene of the game, and then there's nothing else. I'm like, well, like that was probably done on purpose. Now that I'm thinking about it, because
for sure,
if there's no animals in Iceland, why would they like? Maybe he was just really trying.
Well, if he's just taking inspiration from that makes sense.
He was
100%.
really trying to be true to this country. Like he wouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I looked at it that a little.
Well, and I also do. It is interesting. I don't even remember that. It's definitely a choice in the way of like because there's not.
When Sam's driving his bike and he goes up on the hill, there's like deer and like birds going with him, running from the timefall.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, right. Okay,
yeah. And that's sense. It. Like it's like, and I think you see like another bird die like one other time from the timefall.
Well, and it's like the Death Stranding's fucking them all up, right? Isn't that the idea too? Like in the game, like the event that's going on.
Yeah, well, the timefall is a byproduct of the Death Stranding. So
right.
the timefall is just killing, like aging them and killing them.
That's like the rain that ages you, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to remember.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, this theme of connections, that I was kind of like expecting to have, like as one, as solo traveler, but two, is like Kojima clearly something inspired this theme. And maybe it was the interactions he had with people there, because I had a lot of like interesting interactions with different people. Some very quick and casual, and some like this couple I met like a bit more long lasting. Like
That's nice.
It was like, that dinner was fucking fantastic, by the way.
That's good.
Like, oh my God.
What was your favorite course?
Oh, dude, I don't even remember. It was all like really good. I have a list of everything.
Lots of like meats and stuff, or like
yeah. So like lamb. I had lamb on a separate night, but like
you ever had lamb before?
No, quail I had as well. I had a duck egg.
Any hearts?
Like a heart of an
Like a
animal.
chicken? Yeah.
No,
I ate chicken heart
They don't. Why?
because Tamara's wanted me to.
Okay.
My girlfriend. It was when we were at. Apparently, those are big down in Brazil. They eat it. It tasted like any meat, to be honest. I didn't love it, but it wasn't like.
Okay. Interesting.
You can't call me a picky eater anymore. I ate a chicken heart.
Trio
Gooch has
is
it.
like one of the. Actually, that is. I'm surprised that didn't blow me away. Trio is one of the pickiest eaters I've ever met in my life.
I can get by, but it's tough. No.
Yeah, the food was, dude. It was like so different. Like they have a lot of fish in their cuisine, but
Sure.
it's not. There's no chicken over there, and all that
Oh,
stuff.
really?
There is, but like,
it's imported.
Imported.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
naturally
No,
there.
that makes
so
sense.
cows, I think, are the same way. Like they don't I don't really know where cows naturally occur, but like.
Where do cows come from?
Right, like where do they just morph out of? But like a lot of the stuff they're getting are imports. That's why the
course, and that
food
makes
is so
sense.
expensive.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine like the amount of things besides food that need to be imported there. To be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how many? I wonder what the population is there. Continue.
Not a lot.
I didn't think so.
I think Reykjavik is like 300,000. It's really not a lot.
Honestly, that's bigger than I honestly even would have expected in that city. I know. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't sound like a lot. But,
look it up. I could be
Iceland.
wrong. But yeah, the Ox. If you're going to Iceland and you want like this is a Michelin star restaurant. This is a private dinner with 13 people. Like, I would highly recommend you do this. I know it's $400 a head. It's expensive, but like it is worth it. It's fucking like an unreal experience.
372,000 people.
Yeah, I was right.
So I guess so that's saying I don't know if that's saying Reykjavik or just the Iceland population.
Iceland.
Yeah, so like I guess so Reykjavik's just their biggest, like everyone's there, and then
I
there's
would
these kind of
imagine most
smaller
people
towns.
are in that area. Yeah, there
makes
are
sense.
some smaller towns like those towns have like a population of like probably less than thousands.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, I'm sure
yeah.
there's ones out there with like hundreds of people,
Or like 50 or 40.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know there's an island in the south that has 40 people living on it. Like that's wild. But yeah, that was my first day. And I did go between dinner and exploring Reykjavik. I did check into my hotel early and lay there.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I was.
Sometimes you just need to
I was really
decompress.
feeling I'm jet lagged. I'm tired, but I don't want to sleep. But
I just need to rest
When I got back
my
to my
body.
hotel, I just passed out, and I was like asleep for like probably like 10 hours. So yeah, I was surprised I was even going at that dinner like I was. I was like, I'm surprised I'm like as fully functional as I am. But you're on vacation. Your body's in a different mode. You're in a different mood. You're not in your routine. It's
100%.
different. So the day 2, this is the nightmare day. So this was my longest drive. I had to drive from Reykjavik to Foss Hotel, which is about 5 hours east. And this is that's like the farthest east I pretty much went. I went to like one place like 20 minutes away, but I stayed from in the south, mostly east and west.
Gotcha.
And I did a few stops along the way. Iceland has a lot of waterfalls, so I stopped at Skogafoss on the way there.
Nice.
So during this drive, I spent a lot of time listening to Low Roar and Death Stranding score, and it was so funny. Like while I was driving, I felt like Death Stranding has those music cues that just kind of happen.
Yeah, they just come in
and they immerse you into the moment, and you're like really like feeling
definitely punctuate it. Yeah,
right. Like you just feel like it's like, wow, this feels like so natural, even though like a song from like a band just randomly came on. Like it just feels right. And I was having like those moments where like a song would just come on, and I'm just like, wow. Like I like brought me to tears a few times. Like obviously like I'm alone, so I have a lot of time to like think
of course
about things. And I'm just like very reflective and very like I like cannot believe I'm like doing this right now. Like this is incredible.
You're there, yeah.
This is wild. And I was having these music cue moments that happen in Death Stranding in my ride. So I just felt like maybe Kojima, like he was doing rides like this and he had the same sort of thought.
For sure.
This is where the electric car shit comes into. So I had to stop a few times to charge, and it takes a while to charge those cars.
Yes, yeah.
There's two types of chargers. You're slow and you're fast.
Yeah.
They're not called that, but like it's type
There's
2
like expedite or what? Yeah, it's
type
something
2
like
and CCS.
and like express or whatever. Yeah.
The type 2 can take like 9 hours on a dead battery, like
Jeez.
all day,
Yeah.
all day. So like obviously if you're like parking at home at night, not
That
really
makes
an
sense.
issue,
Yeah, you
right?
put it on
But
there.
I'm not really doing that.
Yeah.
So I was like going between a lot of type 2 chargers, like charging for an hour and barely getting 10%, but like being able to get enough to go to the next destination and then worry about it then.
Did you fuck up?
I almost did. So
Oh God.
I got to Vic, so I come back here a few times, but I have to drive through it. So I was like, okay, like I need to charge. Like I'm still like 2 hours from my hotel. I need to charge in Vic, or I'm fucked. I'm down to like 17%, 38 kilometers left. Like if I don't charge here and get a fast charge and charge my whole battery in an hour, I'm screwed. So I pull up to this charging station and there's like someone finishing up and a family getting ready to jump on it, and they were having issues with it. And I kind of got out in the car and asserted myself into this situation because I needed this thing, and I was going to figure out what was going on. So we were able to figure out this guy's situation. His plug wasn't coming out for some reason, and he went on his way. This family was charging up, and they went to go eat. And I'm like, okay, I need to sit here. I'm not losing the spot. I'm not going to go eat. I'm going to sit here and wait for an hour until they come out. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to assess my options. So I needed to download another app, figure that out. The app wasn't working. It was giving me trouble.
Of course.
So with my rental Sixt, I have roadside assistance. So I tapped that to see what the situation was, if I could get it, if I needed it. I didn't need it yet, but I might need it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, long story short, I couldn't get in contact with the roadside assistants or like the office.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God. So like I like let my travel agent know, like I'm kind of freaking out.
Yeah.
The family comes out from dinner. I get out and like, he gives me the pump, and we were like talking, and I was like, hey, like I don't know what the app was doing for you, but it's not working for me, and like kind of explain the situation. Like I'm like, okay, like great, I have it, but like I don't even know if I'm able to charge my car. And he's like, we're like messing around with it, and he's like, wait, and he's like, and like and his wife is with him and his kid, and he's like, I'll set up my hotspot for you to use so you have a better connection so you can use it. And so he did, and it worked.
Yeah.
And like, this is like probably like a 10-minute, 15-minute.
Yeah, that's insane that you have to use an app to do that. Like, that's fucking.
And service isn't great out there, but it was like enough.
Sure, but like to just rely on service, like that's
right. That's what
you're
I mean.
asking for trouble.
Right. Yeah. And he and his wife was like upset for him. He was pretty funny. But I thanked them like a few times. I'm like, thank you for like just like taking.
Yeah, you didn't
a
have to do that at all.
like,
Yeah.
To like help me out. Like they didn't do much.
No,
He just
but
set
they,
up his hotspot, and I was able to charge. I charged it an hour and a half. Excuse me. And I'm like, I thought a lot about that interaction that I had. Like these random people happened to be randomly when I was at this thing, and they like helped me, and I couldn't help but think of like in Death Stranding when you come across random porters and the porters just give you things to use in the world. And I was like, I don't know, the game is about connections and all these different connections you can have. And I know that's like a very little part of the game and probably something you don't like think
for sure
all that much about, but I'm like, I thought about it in this situation where I needed help, and like somebody just like
was kind enough to give it. Yeah,
and I didn't really ask for help. I was just like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, no,
like,
they went out of their way to do it themselves. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I got going, and it took me a while. So, but I didn't get, so I left Reykjavik at 11:30 a.m. I did not get to my hotel until midnight. So I was on the road for like 12 hours.
Damn. That's a lot.
Yeah. It was pretty rough. I was surprisingly like
lucid.
Yeah. But like once I got on the road, I was like white knuckled on the steering wheel. Mind you, most of the roads, like you can see like miles.
Is it a lot of straight lines or windy? Or
not
are there
windy,
highways
mostly,
and stuff?
Yeah,
mostly?
It's a highway, and it's straight, and it's mostly one lane, two laners. So like one going.
Yeah.
Or more like this.
I get what you mean.
So like it's pitch black. I can't see anything. it's kind of scary to drive right now. Like, I'm not going to go off the road and like fall off a cliff, but like,
it's like
there's nothing out there.
Yeah.
And I know there's nothing out there and it's pitch black.
Yeah.
So like, I'm doing that for like
nothingness.
2 hours, like fucking, you know, I got like music kind of blasting, like not Death Stranding music. I'm like listening to something else. Like I
you need
to
something that
focus.
keeps you in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got there. We were all good. And really the day after this, it's all just kind of sightseeing and stuff.
A lot of great pictures up on Gooch's Instagram, so go check them out.
So my
they're really
third
good.
day I did, let me try to pronounce this. I've actually, like, it's funny how many places I went to, never said the names. Like, in the it's Jugal-Sarlin is probably like a close pronunciation. It's probably not pronounced like that.
Yeah, but it's as best you can do.
It was like it's like a melting glacier.
Oh, wow.
And it was really cool. And there's a black sand beach there. And that's a Death Stranding thing, but I'm not going to talk about it with this one. I'm going to talk about it with Vic because there's black sand beaches there. A lot of Game of Thrones was shot there as well.
Makes sense.
But it was cool. There's like ice like melting in the ocean and like ice on the beach.
Yeah.
It's so weird to be like on this beach that is like almost like depressing and vibey and like just like not like it's not like the Jersey Shore. Like you can tell
of course.
Like, you're on this thing and it's like
that barren aspect again.
yeah, like I'm in like the Death Stranding mindset, but I'm like, this is like depressing. Like it's not, it's cloudy and it's raining all the time there. And that's another thing that I realized like on this day actually that I'm like, the weather in Death Stranding, it's mostly cloudy and rainy.
Yeah.
And rain kind of moves in and out. And I'm like, that's exactly how it is in Iceland. You're constantly driving, if you're going somewhere, you're driving in and out of rain or rain is coming and going from you. And it's never like pouring, but it's like consistent a lot.
Yeah.
But again, there was a lot of cloud coverage when I was there. I didn't see the Northern Lights, which kind of sucked.
Oh, that does suck.
Yeah, like there was no like clear. The day I got there and the day I left were the clearest. But yeah, I didn't get to see the Northern Lights, and a lot of the hotels kind of like offer that opportunity. Well, I guess you can see them anywhere.
Yeah, but I think it was probably better spots than others. I would assume.
Right.
Yeah,
that was kind of that was my thinking. And that this day I also did ice climbing.
Oh, nice.
Which is really interesting.
That was very
put
interesting.
pictures of that.
Yeah.
Dude, really hard.
Yeah.
Forearm workout like here and like legs, dude.
Dude,
oh
fucking
my
shit.
God.
Yeah.
And during that excursion I met another solo traveler who's a female who I like got to talking to and connecting with as well, like like on Facebook afterwards. And that was really cool. Again, on the excursions usually I was like kind of talkative with people. But like me and her were just kind of like palling around.
Sure.
And that was, nice. It's nice to kind of just have these like natural,
Another connection.
Talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, connect. The expedition, like the company that did, they're called like Trolls Expeditions. Fucking awesome. Like their guides.
Did a great job.
Very knowledgeable, very safe. Like I fell like while I was like going up the wall and I did not feel like I was like gonna die or something.
Yeah.
Like they were like belaying. Remember like in middle school when we did that? That was when I was thinking, this is probably the only time I've ever done this. So I dined alone at the restaurant and mostly after my day, I'd go back, shower, sit there, eat, and then go to bed.
Decompress, yeah.
Yeah, like there was nothing going on at
For
night.
sure.
Like it was just so much. So the next day, I'm driving back south now, going towards Reykjavik, and I'm at Vik. And this is the black sand beach that, like, the beaches in Death Stranding, like the place, like, that's in everyone's beaches, like in the trailers where the dolphins and the whales are all shoring. Like, I'm like, this is what inspired this. Like, it's really clear.
It's very clear, yeah.
So it was pouring that day, and I was actually on that beach alone for the most part.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was like, kind of having
Very
a field
somber.
day, taking pictures and shit. And I'm just like, like this aesthetic, like that. It's like depressing and like the mood of this place. I'm like, I can almost get like why you'd want to like put this in something.
It does feel apocalyptic.
Yeah.
In that way. Barren in a different way, because we see all these apocalyptic, settings that are like, it's like your Mad Maxes, these charred worlds, or like, Fallout, nuclear Fallout, shit, that, and the other. Like, this is like, you can tell he took much different inspiration and a different like look at like what does a post-apocalyptic world look like
in real life.
Yeah, what could it look like?
Right.
And in general, like, because I think some other ones could technically look like that in real life, but like this is just such a prime example of that you can use of just that barrenness.
There's
aloneness.
tons of areas that are moss covered, rocky, like right off the road, and like you're actually not allowed to like step on the moss. It's like illegal.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's like hundreds of years old.
Oh, wow.
So the idea is like they want to preserve
They want to preserve it. Yeah.
So like so like a lot through my driving, I'm kind of like seeing like the environments of Death Stranding, whether it be the snow-capped mountains, which like I'm on a glacier, like I can see the snow on the mountain from like where it is not snowing.
Yeah.
And like that was pretty crazy. And like, you know, these like rocky surfaces with these, you know how you can get the cryptobiotes off these like mossy red rocks?
Yeah.
I saw those out
cool.
there.
Yeah.
Not the cryptobiotes, obviously, but like these rock structures that I'm like, well, there we go. Like, and there's like, you know, these like this weird plant life and moss and like these red, like vegetation. I'm like, this is like wild.
Very cool. It's very alien almost in a way.
Yeah, it is really alien.
Something you would never experience here.
No, I was driving to my cousin's yesterday and like thinking about like how different my drive and how all this looks compared to how it looks in Iceland. It's and it is like depressing. Like it's not like the people are welcoming.
Of course,
like,
and
the
everyone's
land
probably
itself is not
it's
really.
Harsh.
Yeah, like it doesn't make you want to like be there. It's beautiful.
It's a different type of beauty for sure. It's the beauty of barrenness. Like genuinely, like it sounds very interesting.
Yeah, like I again, like, and you can't really experience Iceland like anywhere else.
No.
It's a very unique country.
Absolutely. Geography wise, for sure too.
Yeah, I did an ice cave hike that day as well, and then I checked into my hotel that one Chris Hemsworth will be staying at. I don't know how long he was there, but he was there when I was there. So I'll tell that story in a minute. So that was day 4. Day 5, there's a they call it the Golden Circle. It's basically a circle like
Kingsman and the Golden Circle?
Yes. Yeah. So it's basically like an hour and a half from Reykjavik, and it's like a 2-hour loop of like just a bunch of like sightseeing spots. And there's like waterfalls, and so I did snorkeling this day, but I saw like a bunch of waterfalls. The actual geyser, the word geyser comes from, is there. It's literally just called geyser.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and like, you know, like natural like hot springs, like too hot to bathe in though, like you would die.
Yeah, you'd boil.
Which again, seeing the Death Stranding of it, like there's tons of like hot springs just around.
Definitely.
Iceland.
Yeah.
I go to one the next day, but yeah, I didn't just randomly bathe in the spring, which would have been really cool.
I went to some hot springs in California, or not California, Colorado when I was there. It was
really,
it just smelled like roasted, like rancid eggs.
Yeah, sulfur.
Like sulfur. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did snorkeling that day, which was cool. Snorkeling in cold water in like it is interesting. It's definitely a different experience from like
you had like a wetsuit on stuff, right? Too.
Yeah, it's different from like in the Caribbean where you would be like you
were just in your bathing suit and with the snorkel. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and looking at like fish and like the bottom of like the ocean where like dude, it looks like it's so hard to even explain. It looks like a giant like cavern of like these fucking boulders. So like Iceland is on top of 2 tectonic plates. That's why the land looks like it does.
Interesting.
So like it looks like an earthquake happened like underwater.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's wild.
That
like,
is crazy.
I'm like, this is and like it's a river like right next to the road. Like you would never think.
Wouldn't even guess.
This shit's under there. You don't see a lot of like underwater stuff in Death Stranding, but that would have been cool to see that explored. But not a big Death Stranding day, but it is a big Thor day because this is
Thor's day, if you will.
This is the night where I am dining next to Chris Hemsworth and his daughter. So
you're right next to him. Yeah, like
probably a little farther than I am from you.
Like it was like
actually
tables set up.
The way we are sitting is exactly how me and Chris Hemsworth were sitting apart from each other. Like his daughter was here and her back was to me. So like if I were to like eating and I were to look over and you were to look over, we'd be looking right at each other, which happened.
And I'm sure he saw you and he saw the glint in your eye and he was like, I gotta get out of here. I know. That's someone who recognizes me.
Like they're there before me. So and like this hotel is pretty small. Hotel Ranga. It's like it's in the middle of nowhere. It's like it's a very nice hotel. Kind of like ranch aesthetic looking. But yeah, I go to eat. This is my second time eating there because I ate there the night before as well. You know, having a glass of wine, eating. I ate just Arctic char that night. Yeah. I had lamb the night before.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm just enjoying myself, thinking, looking around, people watching. And I you know, I see a daughter and a father, and I'm like, That's kind of
nice.
weird. Yeah, no, like weird because like we're in Iceland, like
and this feels like more of like an sure.
adult thing,
or that
So
adults would have more fun at. Honestly, in general,
I'm like, wow, this guy took his daughter to Iceland.
That's cool.
And I'm like, I look at the guy, has a hat on, beard, kind of like yours, like darker.
Yeah.
Can't see the hair.
Yeah.
So, and obviously Chris Hemsworth doesn't have blonde hair like Thor.
Yeah.
It's more like a.
It's like more like my honestly like
So like I'm
blonde.
I'm not thinking about it.
No.
I hear him talk and I hear the Australian accent. Didn't pick up on anything. And I noticed the manager, I guess whoever's running the dining room, was talking to the girl, and I'm like,
the little girl. Like
yeah. So his daughter's like 10 or something like that. And I'm like, okay,
she's
like,
in Love and Thunder.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's her. Yeah. It was. He doesn't have multiple daughters, does he?
No, just as one.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm like, okay. Like, nothing weird about it, but
like, oh, that's interesting.
The waitstaff is talking to this little girl. I'm like, I guess it kind of makes sense being friendly and stuff.
Maybe you start thinking, maybe this guy's important. I don't know.
Not exactly. Like I like never crossed my mind. But I was just noticing it like intently.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing nothing else.
Yeah.
Like
you're people watching.
Yeah. So like I order and like their food's coming out. Like they didn't have food when I sat down, and I'm sat down and ordered my food, and their food's out. And like when they're eating, I like look over and like Chris Hemsworth looks right at me, and I'm like, oh my God, it's Chris Hemsworth.
Did you look away immediately, or were you like locked for a second?
And I like looked away, and I took out my phone, and I'm like, I need to tell everybody. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, and I heard him talk. I'm like, it's fucking him. Oh my God. Like I wasn't like really freaking out. Like sitting
no, but
there,
you were just like,
but, like in my head, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. You're starting to vibrate.
Yeah. Like, and I'm like, and this is the point where I text the group chats. You're all in on it. And nobody ever doubted me, which was funny. But then Ian, friend of the show, was like, here's his story. Checks out. Like he was on a plane somewhere. And the next day,
I wouldn't believe it's so fun. Why would you make that up? I wouldn't even think that way.
But
Yeah.
like the next day he does post a picture. He did the same ice climb I did.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But I'm like, people are like, are you gonna get a picture of him? I'm like, dude.
No,
like,
I mean, people were. Everyone was joking. No one was serious in the group chat about that.
No, I know. But the table behind me knew, but like, I don't think anyone else knew.
And that's
that
like,
he was there.
I think it's fine in that situation. Be like, hey, love your movies. Thanks for blah blah blah, and then move on. But you also are. You're playing with fire and doing that because then other people will notice him.
Right.
And so it's like, you don't want to do that to him. You don't want to be that. So
I don't want to do him to him, one, because he's eating, and two, he's with his daughter.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm like, like I don't want to just go up to his table and like be awkward because I'm sure it'll be kind of weird for him. But like he ate and drank. Like I look at, he had like a cocktail or something, or like a rum drink or something like that, and he was like done before I even got my food. So he was not in there long, but like he like I looked at him a few times. He looked back. I think he knew that.
He probably knew that you recognized him for sure.
Yeah. And then he just walked out.
I'm sure he appreciated that you just were just like
because I'm like, I don't want to just try to snap a picture of him, and I'm not gonna say anything to him. And then like
you made the right choice.
Like I got my food and like I'm eating, and the waitstaff.
I think it would be one thing if you like walked out, like if you guys were both walking out at the same time and you're like, "Hey man, love your movies," and then you just left.
Yeah.
Like
I just happened to be next to him.
Yeah. That's one thing, but
I'd be like, "Hey Chris, just want to say hey."
Hey man, love the movies. You're great.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Yeah. Right. Like not engage in conversation. No. Make sure you know that I knew.
Yeah. Like I know who you are.
So the waitstaff just asked like, "Hey, how's everything?" Great. That was fucking crazy. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, I'm like, I guess he knew who he was, but the waiter was like, is he big in the States? I'm like, yeah. And the table next to me goes, oh my God, wasn't that crazy? Like, because they overheard me talking about it. But like nobody else chimed in. Like again, like this isn't like a huge dining room with like a lot of people, and it's not a big hotel. So like, and he was like, yeah, he's staying here, and he's like, he's in like the lower rooms. He's like telling me where he is.
That's so fucked.
I'm like,
you're like, no, you probably shouldn't tell me that.
I'm just like, I couldn't, like, the hotel it's just like a long kind of like cabin looking thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could encounter him in this long hallway that if two people are coming at each other, they have to look at each other and have to pass. Like,
and they have to interact.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, that would be cool.
It would be even funnier though if you're just like, hey man, can I help? Like you didn't like act like you don't know.
Just like totally.
Yeah, just totally like, hey dude, what's going on, man? How you doing? Oh, what do you do for work? Oh, What movies have you been in?
Oh my god. But it was cool. Like I didn't like sit there and like longingly look at him.
Gooch, I think that's a
dark.
sign from the Delco Nerd Network gods that you were supposed to be there on top
Dude,
of that.
but it was. I'm like, this is wild.
That is wild.
And I'm alone on a trip in the
I
middle
forgot.
of
I didn't tell my
nowhere.
girlfriend about that. I never mentioned that to her.
And I'm just like, this is crazy.
Now there's only like 2 degrees of separation from me to Chris Hemsworth. You met him. So.
Yeah. And we've seen him at like Wizard World.
Yeah, of
like,
course.
But like, I'm like, this is different.
It's like seeing your teteacher out of school.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You're like, you have a life?
Because he was like, it was so normal.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, most people. Again, I think most of those guys are.
He was so normal. No, like the situation.
Yeah,
was so normal.
yeah, for sure.
Like it was cool. Yeah, that I happened to be there. I'm like, this is the coolest travel story ever.
Oh, it's a really cool one.
2 more days, and the last day is just departure, so really one.
Yeah.
So I saw Carried Crater, which is like, I'm like, this is the inspiration behind the Void Outs, that you see in the game, or you can trigger in the game. And I'm just like, super obvious one, not too much to hide. But it was, I think it was like, it used to be a volcano, and that's why there's this giant
makes sense.
crater. Yeah. Again, cool opportunity for pictures. And then I went to Blue Lagoon, which is a geothermal hot spring. So there's a geothermal plant about, I guess, like 5, not even like a few, you can see it from the spring.
Is that how they get a lot of their power there?
Yes. And when they built it, and this was in the 90s, the water that is the Blue Lagoon just started to come up out of the ground. And the people that worked at the plant like bathed in the water like after work. And that's how, and this is again less than 30 years ago.
Yeah.
This is like recent.
Yeah.
The guy who founded it is still alive.
Yeah.
And they built like, it's one of the 25 wonders of the world.
Wow.
They built it's an operation. You can tell a lot of people come in and out of this place.
Makes
but
sense.
it's like, it's like a public, like, medical sauna. Like, it's good for your skin. They give you like masks and stuff to put on. Honestly, my skin has been pretty smooth since then. I'm not gonna lie, but it was cool to just like, last day I'm just hanging out, and like I was in there for like an hour and a half, and then I left, and then I went back to the same hotel I was in Reykjavik, and then slept and left. But yeah, my last day was like chill, because like I was definitely like, after the ice climb, I was like, I don't know how much physical.
I can't imagine how.
Physical.
I'll give you credit for that too, Gooch. I don't know if I'd have the cojones to
A
do
lot
that.
of dude, I was getting a lot of people who were like, dude, that is incredible.
No, it is,
I was
because like I'm an uncoordinated big fuck. I get scared on shit like that.
yeah,
to be
and I was like,
genuine.
dude, I'd
Yeah.
be terrified if I were you. And
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Because like I wasn't scared once.
Well, that also shows you, I think, how well maintained. Like you were the good guide and everything. It sounds
Yeah,
like. And like guys who really like you felt comfortable around doing this, and that's good.
Like. Yeah,
I'm sure it's very
I'm
safe.
just kind of surprised about everyone being like, I would never do that. I'm like, it's really not that high.
No, I'm sure it's. I'm
know.
sure it's very safe. It's just that type of stuff in general.
I was
think is not a lot of
I was
people's
maybe
bag.
like 20 feet in the air.
Yeah.
30 feet.
I mean, hey, dude, that can still.
And then I went back down. Like the
That
repelling.
can still kill you.
The repelling was like every video game I've ever played
Yeah.
has trained me for this.
That's so good.
Where I'm just
I
like
love
jumping
it.
off the
Yeah.
wall and then coming back on. Yeah, it was cool. But yeah, then day 7, I left.
Just getting home.
Yeah, so it was a long travel day. Obviously, 6:25 back, and then a 2-hour drive back, which is where I lost it.
That's
I
tough.
lost it. I was like mentally deteriorating. on the
Dude,
drive
that's
back. And I got home.
You
and, like,
couldn't get one out of Philly?
no.
Really?
So the
That kind of
the
surprises
airport
me.
in Reykjavik is it's not in Reykjavik. It's right outside of it. It begins with a K. I forget
Yeah.
what it is. Really nice. It's small, and you want to know why? It has two airlines. That's it.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Play and Iceland Air. They're the
Yeah.
only 2 Icelandic airlines. So why they don't fly out of Philly, I don't know. But Baltimore is a hub for them, and
that
that's
makes
why.
sense. Okay.
So there were flights to Iceland, but they were all connecting, and I did not want to do that. Because
Like,
my flight would be
you're-
like 17 times longer, and if
No,
I
fuck
got
that.
delayed or something like that,
And with the way planes have been lately, dude, you're not. I don't want to say lucky, but
No, I think
somewhat
I
like
am.
you're pretty fucking lucky you
when I
didn't
went to
run into any
Albuquerque
issues.
for a wedding last year, dude, I got stuck in fucking Chicago.
Yeah.
I wasn't international.
Super was telling me about when he was at they were going to Disney like week or 2 ago, and like it got like his flight got delayed all day. They got there at like 10, delayed, 10
10 in the
o'clock.
morning?
10, yeah, they were there at 10 o'clock. 10 p.m. they go, the flight has been delayed till 6 a.m. tomorrow. And Super, he told me, he's like, that's not that's not delayed, that's canceled. And she's like, no, it's been delayed. He's like, no, that's fucking canceled, you asshole. Like, and
Dude,
that's so like, dude, it's
I don't know what I would have done. When I was in Chicago, like that was kind of the situation with mine. It got pushed. I left at 10:30. I was supposed to leave at like fucking 4.
Dude, my girlfriend, when she went to New Orleans, I dropped her off at the airport at 11. She didn't leave till 8 o'clock at night. Her flight was supposed to be at like 3.
Was it because of weather?
I think so. Or I don't even know if it was. I think it was just a delay.
I got out of here right before that storm came in that weekend.
Yeah. It's wild.
And I was like thinking about that. I'm like,
I remember
dude.
the one time when we flew out of Florida when it was my brother's bachelor party, there was like, we just missed a storm, and it's so funny because you could watch it like on the screen, and it just saw us like go around it, and like you could see it. It was so wild. It was pretty like we just barely beat it out. It's funny.
Yeah, I'm surprised just how smooth my flights were. But
dude, that's good.
But
that's fantastic.
it was what was really weird about the airport there is it's all automated.
Oh, really?
So like even so you get your tag, which is usually automated. You can like get it and then they put it on for you.
Yeah.
I like doing that. Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to put it on. Like, I don't want to fuck this up. Yeah. So you put your own tag on.
So you check the bag. Yeah, that makes sense.
You check. Yeah. I had a check on and then a backpack and a carry on.
Yeah.
But so I check my bag. You put it on a scale. You scan your boarding pass and it just fucking goes. I'm like, dude, what if it gets lost?
So, yeah, I know.
I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's wild.
Like this is really blowing my mind. But it's a small enough airport where
that
I guess
it works.
it's like,
yeah,
it works.
And I'm sure they have people there at all times to like work on things if they need to and stuff, of course. But
I'm sure
that's interesting.
But yeah, the airport was pretty nice. Not a lot of sitting room for like the gates, but like in the food area, like there was tons of stuff.
That's great.
And I'm just like, I was just like, oh, these gates are like kind of small. But
that's good.
Yeah, and that was my trip, man. It was I journaled through the whole trip, which is really interesting. I've never done that before.
Yeah. Definitely will help you remember.
Yeah, I haven't read it again, but like I'm
that's something you look back on like 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, read this. It's very I mean, it's very emotional, but it's very very negative and very positive.
Sure.
Like cuz like those first few days, like I was just like I was saying, leading up to it, I was like really nervous. And like scared. But once I was like writing, I'm like, I just need to get there and I'll be fine. Exactly. And that's really what happened.
Yeah. Well, it's the anticipation. I feel like that's with almost anything like new in life. The anticipation is almost worse.
I mean, that's where all
like,
my stress is.
Yeah, for sure.
Like very
they
anticipatory.
were waiting. I mean, yeah.
It's always before things, not during them. Like I get really that's how I get stressed out. Yeah, man. It's clear that Kojima and his team went there and were inspired by like what they were seeing and what was happening to them and the experience that they were having, to the point where they adapted the entire country,
the setting, yeah, for sure, yeah,
into a game,
the geography,
and turned it into a post-apocalyptic America, and then like injected the like American spirit into this world. And I think in the context of the game, it really works.
I concur.
Like just like what they decided to do and bring the America angle in it is so interesting, because it's like, again, the land itself is not American.
Not very yeah.
But they put these themes of like, Fragile has this quote that's in the trailer, and I think it's towards the end of the game, and she's like talking about, like her father said, like, America really means something, the glue that holds it all together, and if we, keep delivering, like, we'll like instill that, like,
it is funny connection. How it's about America.
Yeah,
and like he's
not American.
He's Japanese, right?
Yeah. He's Kojima's obsessed with America.
Yeah, he is
clear. I think a lot of Japanese
even in the way
are.
for sure, and especially I mean, obviously in the way of Metal Gear Solid with that's like super espionage.
Yeah,
film.
and then they're all American.
Yeah,
in that. Yeah. I think like it's not even from like a cultural standpoint. I think it is, but I think it's just from like our politics, like everything.
The grip we have on the world in general, and I don't even mean that in the way of like. Just in the way, like I was saying earlier, our media is everywhere. We are a world superpower, so it's interesting.
Yeah, and like driving these roads, and like I felt like I was like delivering packages. Like there's nothing between like a Port Knot city and like the another shelter or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's nothing out here. It's just land. It's exactly
it's
like
very interesting,
like it is. And I'm like, I know we have like Assassin's Creed 2, and they adapt Italy and Florence and Montetrioli.
Sure, yeah.
But I'm like, it's different. Like
100%
it's different.
No, I think it's again. I think he did see, like you're saying, he saw something there that he could really kind of not. I was gonna say capitalize on. That's not the right word, but take inspiration from and adapt from and do something different with that we haven't seen.
And it's going to be interesting to see what Death Stranding 2 does. I know it's like its tagline is "Should we have connected?" So it's like almost like the exact opposite perspective. It's like Death Stranding 2 is all about connection and reconnection and isolation and kind of like showing how isolatedly connected we are with like social media and all that stuff. And it's like, I don't really know what Death Stranding 2 is going to do. It looks like it's going to go global, but I'm not sure about that. Like with the ship. So like it'll be interesting to see like what they do and what kind of themes they explore and how they, you know, go off of Death Stranding 1, especially a game with such a definitive end where it doesn't sequel bait at all.
For sure.
Like it's just like, and that was something I really liked about it, where it was just like, this is it.
This is the end.
And I'm like, that's fine. Like he may not make a sequel to this, and I didn't really want one, but
that's the thing. I think he let himself have a large leash on that. Like he
didn't rope himself in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like it definitely felt like a satisfying end and a real end, but you know, left the door.
Yeah, and this was a podcast topic I thought about doing on the trip. It really was never occurred to me that I'm like, maybe I should do this, because I'm going to do like a video essay that gets probably a little deeper into the Death Stranding of it, other than, I mean, we got deep,
of course,
but like, you know, they're like a video essay format, a more formal.
Of course, you can go more deep in that for sure.
Right. But yeah, and I was just like, and I came home and I'm like, Trio, I think we got to do this, man. Like I feel like I got to talk about this.
And you convinced me.
Yeah. And at first I was like, like you didn't see it.
I was just like, I need a little more. Yeah.
And like trepidatiously so. And I'm like, all right, I gotta
sell this.
Like actually convince Trio. And I like, you know, wrote him a little something. And yeah. And like traveling alone was like a hell of an experience. I don't know if I'd ever do it again. I don't know if I have the opportunity.
Yeah. Traveling alone like that, especially, is like it's one thing to like travel alone, like even, because it's funny I've gone to Seattle alone, which is technically the same
I've flown
amount
alone before this,
but
too.
Like you're going to a completely foreign place with no connections.
You're
there.
in America.
You're
like, not like totally.
Like I was going out to see my girlfriend at the time. You were going out to see Iceland. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so like
I'm going on
you're going on vacation by yourself.
Yeah, and it's cool to, you know, operate on your own schedule, not have to anything.
Hey, go see some movies on your own and stuff, everyone. It's fun.
Yeah. I've only done that a few times, and it is.
I used to do it a lot more when I was working at Regal, like way back.
It is an interesting experience, and like I'll say the same thing to you, man. I mean, like I know you're in a relationship, so it might be hard to do like a solo travel thing.
Oh yeah,
but like if you're ever in the situation,
a little bit of wanderlust.
Yeah, like I don't know how to like convince somebody to do it, but like it is a big,
it's an experience, confidence,
not
booster, I would say,
but like you kind of like, I had to work up to it. Like, it's not like something I just wanted to do,
of course.
But yeah, I appreciate, you know, you giving the time for the podcast, dedicating the monthly topic to
it. For sure. Yeah.
If anyone has any questions, like
comments, all that good stuff.
Yeah, leave them in the comment section or join the
Ask
Discord.
Gooch on where if you're planning on going to Iceland, hit Gooch up. Ask
I am. I am a.
What was the name of your travel agent again? Too.
Kaylin Leonard of Bespoke Escapes.
So if you need a good travel agent,
I'll link her stuff in here. But I think that's it.
Fantastic. Please.
The electric car stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't go into the Death Stranding of this. It's funny because you rely on these chargers to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Just like in Death Stranding, and people to put them down and build them up just like you would in real life, but also Google Maps to tell that they're actually there, because apparently I read a review and it's like, this pump wasn't there. Like
on Google Maps.
It was there.
Oh, but when you got there, it wasn't
there. I'm like, dude, this is and you know what I thought while driving? What if the road charged my car? Not even thinking about
for
Death
sure,
Stranding.
yeah.
And I'm like, where in Death Stranding,
that's
you
what
eventually
it does,
build a big road and it charges your vehicle.
Yeah,
and it makes transportation
it keeps the
more
charge
efficient.
on. Yeah,
for sure.
I'm
like, dude, they must have been having the same exact thoughts.
Yeah,
I'm like,
for
there's
sure.
no fucking way.
That's interesting.
Like, this is crazy. I
go to Iceland.
Go to Iceland, solo
That's
travel,
Gooch's review.
do something.
Yeah.
Do something that like I mean, like, I don't know if everyone has the same passion for things like I do to go do something like this, but like doing a solo trip, I think, is something everyone has to do.
I think doing anything on your own can be an enlightening experience in many ways.
And I've done a lot of things on my own, like recently. I'm going to a concert fucking tonight alone. Concerts alone are interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Don't be singing along.
Dude, that I always think about that now.
That is so funny.
From Colin.
I think it's fun. You can sing along, but like I think when you're taking over the song, like when you're like belting it.
So I wrote into Sacred Symbols. They were Colin was talking real quick. Colin was talking about going to concerts and like singing with them. That's like you're not supposed to do that. And I like wrote into them and like saying like I'm like I do this. And I'm like,
are you telling me I'm wrong?
Am I what's wrong with the road?
Am I the problem? Yes, you are the problem.
Yeah. I'm like, funny. Dude, I'm like, no. Like it's a good time. Like people are singing.
Yeah, no. Oh, absolutely. I think there's a line for sure. But
I guess.
I digress. Well, like when you're belting next to me and I'm hearing
asshole.
yeah, that's what I mean. But anyways, anything else, Gooch?
That's it.
Fantastic. It was good. It was actually very interesting to hear all this stuff, I got to say. So I'm glad we did it.
Thank
of course.
You. And the next few podcasts are probably going to be game awards related, Game Awards predictions.
So. We might do Mortal Kombat next week if Gooch is ready. If not, we're going to figure it out.
Yeah, a lot of games coming, but the monthly topics will be Game Awards focused, I guess, for the next few. Because we are in that season. It's going to be November. This is our October one.
It is, yeah. Oh, God, Gooch, I didn't eat anything before I came here, and that was a very dumb mistake. Can't wait to chat down.
Let's get you out.
I was thinking about Chick-fil-A during the podcast, but guess
Sunday,
what?
Dude.
Yeah, it's fucking Sunday, like it always is when
man.
I think about it. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching with us live on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network. We really appreciate your time. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network. We're on all the social media pages as well. Got a Facebook page, Discord channel, even a Threads if you're still on that. All of it's going to be linked down below. You can find all this information on our website, delconerdnetwork.com. You can also email us. I almost just said my email. delconerds@gmail.com.
Don't privately email.
Yeah, don't do that. We would be happy to answer any of your comments, questions, or concerns. For Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time.